Naruto Uzumaki, the main character of the Naruto franchise. He's strong. I don't really need to tell you that. What I think is more important to discuss is what Naruto is capable of in the lore of the series itself, as well as where he should be placed in the context of Naruto the series. Today we're going to talk about that and a bit more. Without further discussion, let's get straight into the video. Starting off, I do want to establish that Naruto's potential, like Sasuke and the upper limits of it, does shift as his power or chakra levels do change in the series itself. Even as a genin, it's noted by Kakashi that Naruto's latent abilities dwarf even those of Sasuke and perhaps Kakashi's as well. This is very important to note since this is Kakashi judging Naruto at a very low baseline. On top of the least impressive version of Naruto having latent abilities that potentially dwarf Kakashi's, and him, Sasuke, and Haku being the only characters that have a 5 out of 5 in terms of latent potential in Data Book 1, Naruto's potential ceiling does just shift as he grows older, more so due to the fact that the tetragram seal was designed to continuously leak out small amounts of the Nine Tails chakra and thus boost Naruto's own base chakra reserves, which means on top of Naruto naturally gaining more chakra as he trains and grows older, there's another layer of him gaining more chakra as he gets it directly from the Kyuubi, meaning just him growing older and existing was changing his higher ceiling. So Naruto in Shippuden, or the beginning of Shippuden, has a higher potential ceiling due to the fact that over time he's just getting more and more of Kurama's chakra, which culminates in Naruto's base chakra levels being 4 times greater than Kakashi halfway through Naruto Shippuden. And if Yamato wasn't suppressing the Nine Tails chakra, it would be 100 times more. There are many top tier shinobi in this series itself who distinctly note that if Naruto were to gain mastery over that massive amount of chakra, he would just become something of a monster. Kabuto himself directly notes this when witnessing Naruto's abilities against the Hidden Rain Ninja. However, Orochimaru himself also does make a similar sentiment, or begins a similar thought process by noting if he can control the Nine Tails power when Naruto actually tries to summon Gamabunta or any other large toad, but due to Naruto only being able to summon Gamatatsu, Orochimaru doesn't really finish his thought. But I do believe the sentiment still stands, and this does present itself in Naruto Shippuden, where there is this big narrative push, especially when Naruto attempts to add a nature release to the Rasengan, something Kakashi and Minato fail to do, that Naruto is the only one out of the current era of shinobi who can actually surpass Minato. Kakashi plays this off with certain characters like Yamato, saying that Yamato's his equal in order to get Yamato paying for food, which Yamato kind of cites later on to Kakashi, saying you're a bit of a sweet talker, when Kakashi notes that Naruto is the only one who can surpass the Hokage, but Kakashi makes it clear that he actually is a believer in Naruto, with the third data book directly citing that Kakashi's words of encouragement are never over exaggerated. It's not as if this is a Kakashi exclusive statement, as by the end of data book 3, which describes the favorite scenes of the Naruto manga, it directly cites that Naruto is the only one who can surpass the 4th Hokage. This does entail that Naruto would have eventually surpassed Minato, even if he didn't go on to garner any additional power-ups and just kept progressing with his base chakra and base abilities as he was. Keep in mind, at this point, Naruto is 16 and is at Kakashi's level, as in the raw kanji, Kakashi directly tells Naruto that he's as strong or stronger than him, even without the Rasen Shuriken in play. So Naruto's already this strong, it's not hard to imagine that by just progressing naturally over the course of another decade, he would no doubt surpass Minato. So Naruto's potential and goalpost does kind of shift from Kakashi, who is more closely tied to Sasuke, to Minato, who is the big moving goalpost for Naruto later on in Shippuden as he acquires more and more power-ups and gets compared to Minato in different aspects. What I really want to dial in on though is Naruto's 6-path Sage Mode abilities and him towards the later end of the war arc and how he is in lore. Naruto's 6-path Sage Mode is the culmination of 2 power-ups. It's the Sage Mode that Hagoromo gifted Naruto, and his Kurama cloak stacked on top of it. There's a lot of general power statements made about Naruto, such as him surpassing Kurama mode as a whole, even with the base Sage Mode, where Naruto being this strong is shown to us in less blatant means. For example, Might Guy with his strongest attack, Night Guy, wasn't even able to really damage the God Tree to a significant extent, yet Naruto merely punching Madara's TSO staff was actually able to crack the back of the God Tree. So he's obviously very strong. There's a lot that gets glossed over with this specific version of Naruto. A lot of people gloss over his mastery over Shadow and Light style. Now, Shadow and Light style kind of exist similar to the 5 nature releases, where they have their own subsidiary techniques under them. Meaning, just because you have mastery over Shadow and Light style doesn't mean you have mastery over every Shadow and Light style technique. I'll give you an example. Obito and Madara are able to produce 6 paths melee tools, which are the black rods that protrude from their palms. Obito and Madara do so even without the Rinnegan, which filters into them being able to apply Shadow and Light style onto the TSO, which gives them their ninjutsu nullifying effect. Adversely, while Naruto doesn't possess the exact same yin and yang release techniques that Obito and Madara have, he also does display some abilities that Madara and Obito don't have. For example, Naruto is able to recreate Kakashi's eye through mastery of yin and yang release by taking a part of Kakashi and seemingly recreating it in his other eye. Furthermore, it seems implied that Naruto had a similar method, with him actually being able to stop the 8 Gates endgame, as by creating a pseudo sun seal on Guy's chest and sealing marks spreading outward, he was able to prevent Guy's chakra node from going out. The reason I say it's likely Madara and Obito didn't have this ability or didn't have the exact same yin and yang release abilities as Naruto is due to the fact that he's surprised by Naruto doing this and just says outright, what did he do? Through Naruto's own specific yin and yang release abilities, he is either able to heal people / recreate organs, or actually stall death, as not only seen with Guy, who I compared to plugging up a hole on a sinking or flooding ship, which is why he wasn't able to fully heal Guy. He was also able to prolong Obito's lifespan, as well as seen in Kaguya's time space, although the upper limits of this are showcased when Obito is hit by Kaguya's all-killing Ashbone. I do want to make it clear though, I do think this may be an ability that was lost when he lost Hagoromo's Yang Seal. I'm not of the opinion that the Yin and Yang Seal offer a huge power increase, more so that there's just certain abilities Naruto and Sasuke just use with that seal, and when it's gone, they can't use it anymore. An example being the 6 paths Chibaku Tensei was lost when they no longer had the seal. I think it's a similar case with Naruto's use of Yin and Yang release, since in all 3 scenarios where he uses it, he uses his dominant arm with the Yang Seal present, along with the fact that when he stops Guy from dying, a replica Yang Seal spawns on Guy's chest with sealing spreading outwards. The way it's presented, this is a healing ability that Naruto overall lost access to. Maybe he still has it, but the consistent answer is that he likely doesn't. Also, not saying Naruto got weaker, please do not misconstrue my argument. More so saying, I believe this is just a hyper-specific ability that was only possible via the Yang Seal. Similarly with Sasuke's Yin Seal and how he coats his Chidori and Chidori Blade in 6 paths Black Chakra that spawns from the Yin Seal. Not saying they get weaker, likely that there's just a few abilities they lose access to. Again, like the 6 paths Chibaku Tensei. Aside from that though, Naruto does have a pretty deep bag with the Beiju abilities. Naruto has a magnet-style Rasengan which infuses Shikaku's power, allowing him to halt Ten Tails Madara's movements. This is important since Madara actually felt the need to sub out with his Limbo clone, which further got paralyzed as a result of this Rasengan. Naruto can quite literally just paralyze 10 Tails caliber fighters with a sealing ninjutsu applied to the Rasengan. He also has more esoteric abilities in the form of Boil Release, which do give him a temporary speed and power boost, as it's a short-term taijutsu boost, which did enable him to press Kaguya to some extent, physically pushing her back into the ice wall. Although I do want it to be clear, I don't think this ability is really a standout ability compared to some of Naruto's other abilities in this form that he draws on from the Beiju. A more highlight ability is Naruto's Region combo, where utilizing chakra that Kurama prepares for Naruto in this form, he is able to create 9 infinite shadow clones. To the extent that Kaguya's time space that she was governing now turned into Naruto's time space, as he was just retaining control over it in the sense he's just overpowering Kaguya with the sheer number of clones rather than just, him controlling nature itself like Kaguya. It's also noted that this barrage boasts a power that equals even Lee's, who has a good command of the 8 gates. A lot of people interpret this to be an amp on top of Naruto's existing power. I think this is a little foolish since the 5th gate is stated to be an amp by dozens of times, and I'm going to be honest, if Naruto got at the very least 24 times stronger in this moment, it would have been pretty clear. I think the more consistent interpretation is that these clones that are overall weaker than the original Naruto are still hitting as hard as 6th Gate Lee. It's just a fraction of Naruto's chakra that is still physically able to hit that hard. So Naruto in lore usually has ways to deal with every situation. He can temporarily amp his taijutsu, he has sealing ninjutsu that he can apply to his basic Rasengan, which is effective on 10 Tails caliber fighters. He has ways to create augmented shadow clones that are all as strong as 6th Gate Lee. Naruto really just has an answer for every situation in lore. This is also consistent with his sensory abilities, which were noted to be on par with 10 Tails Madara, and were so impressive that he could just fight Limbo clones despite them existing in another realm almost, and him not being able to see the Limbo clones at all. If you're gonna play Dungeons and Dragons, Naruto could quite literally fill every position in the board. You need sealing jutsu, he's got you. You need raw power, he's got you. You need healing, he's got you. Pretty much anything you need at this point, Naruto can do. And there are other Beiju abilities such as the Lava Style or any of the other Beiju abilities that are noted to be Naruto's ultimate ninjutsu when he fires them at Kaguya, but I have talked about a lot of these points in other videos, and more relevantly, I do want to talk about some of Naruto's higher ends, especially in reference to Sasuke and the Final Valley. I don't want to gloss over the Kaguya fight. Anybody who's read the manga, watched the show, seen a YouTube short, knows that Naruto was hard carrying in that fight. MVP doesn't really cut it as a term to describe Naruto's performance. There are just some more highlight points that I want to dial in on for this specific video in discussing what lore accurate Naruto really is. The next aspect of this fight I want to talk about is Naruto vs Sasuke. I've actually done a full breakdown on Naruto vs Sasuke Final Valley 2. I highly recommend that video if you want more information on that fight, the scaling behind it, a lot of interactions between Naruto and Sasuke, or maybe the differences between Naruto and Sasuke in the anime. Up to you. I think it's one of the best uploads on my channel to date. However, I want to add a couple new notes that I think are very important to discussing Naruto as a whole in this fight. Starting off, it should be established that Naruto's base form is extremely potent even at this point in time. A lot of people don't mention that when Naruto and Sasuke clash initially in the manga, Naruto and Sasuke are on top of the Madara and Hashirama statue, yet when both launch to clash at each other, they clash on top of the Hashirama statue. This means obviously Rinnegan Sasuke is far faster than Naruto, due to him crossing an entire waterfall before Naruto even leaves the Hashirama head itself, but also is kind of a weird feat for Naruto since he is able to clash with this version of Sasuke. So he gets massively outsped, yet is still able to contend with Sasuke's base physicals, even in his base form. This is consistent as Naruto's base reactions are so high that in response to Rinnegan Sasuke's fireball, he can actually flick into 6-Path Sage mode. So base Naruto, even during this fight, just has a ton of stock and is very powerful. I don't want to repeat any sentiments I made in the video I referenced earlier, or just beat a dead horse about Naruto holding back or not having killing intent versus this Sasuke. However, I do think the standout point in this discussion is how Naruto is able to create 3 shadow clones that are partially damaged due to the Kurama avatar being fully damaged, but he is able to create 3 semi-formed Kurama avatar shadow clones. This is very relevant since after failing to take down Sasuke's Indra avatar, Naruto then absorbs a ton of nature energy that Kurama controlling Naruto's body was able to absorb. I do think this is a Naruto nature absorption feat since Kurama is controlling Naruto's body and the 6 Paths powered up Kurama avatar, so I think Naruto himself could also just absorb this amount of chakra. And it's not like we haven't seen the 9 Tails take control of Naruto's body, so I do think this just is a Naruto feat in and of itself, especially since the Naruto shadow clone body is also seen inside the avatar. But more importantly, on top of absorbing all of this nature energy, Naruto does combine with 2 of his shadow clones in order to create a fused version of the Kurama avatar, very similar in essence to Ashura's avatar that we see in the flashback with Hagoromo. I'm actually of the opinion that on a conservative level, Naruto just got 3 times stronger here from absorbing this nature energy and combining with his shadow clones. I did not pull this number out of my ass, I promise you. The basis for this is how Kiba notes after fusing with a shadow clone and Akamaru for the Inuzuka style man beast transformation combo that he can triple his strength by just gaining 1 additional head. The databook making a similar sentiment that the use of a shadow clone allows 1 more head to be added. The field of view becomes vast, claws and fangs grow. Its offensive capacity is 3 times that of the double-headed wolf. So the rationale is Naruto, who is also merging with 2 shadow clones and absorbing additional nature energy to rival a 10 tails level amp, should at the very least by the Kiba metric be 3 times stronger. If I'm being 100% honest, this is insanely conservative, especially considering Naruto was able to rival a 10 tails level amp in Sasuke's Indra avatar, but this method at the very least gives us some sort of verifiable level that we can use for Naruto himself and the increase he has. The main idea is that lore accurate Naruto can triple the strength or create an avatar that is 3 times stronger than his Kurama avatar to fight any opponent. So on top of everything I mentioned with 6 Pats Naruto, he does have the ability to augment himself and put himself an entire tier higher than somebody he was previously fighting. In lore, Naruto is just going to augment himself until he rises above your level, or you just cliff him so much stat-wise that he's just unable to do so. If you're wondering why Naruto likely doesn't do this in Boruto, the Majestic Attire Susanoo, that being the 6 Pats version that fuses Naruto and Sasuke's Kurama avatar in Perfect Susanoo, is regarded in Saikyo Jump as the ultimate ninjutsu, which would entail that it would be above the variation of avatar that we see in the Final Valley here. Not to gloss over a lot of this fight, but I have a dedicated video on it and I don't really want to waste everybody's time. But what I really do want to talk about Naruto, especially just in lore in the series itself, is Naruto's Baryon mode, as I feel like it's actually one of the more slept on forms in the verse itself, or just gets written off by a lot of people. Baryon mode Naruto is a form of the character I previously actually had pretty low opinions of, believing it was really only hyper effective against Ishiki, mainly due to the fact that Ishiki had an existing short lifespan, with the form hitting to an extent that the user's lifespan goes down a fixed amount. But I think that I have moved on from this argument, and now I'm of the opinion Baryon mode Naruto is actually one of the more ridiculous forms, especially in reference to taijutsu, whether in this verse or across verse. The way Baryon mode is achieved is in a process similar to nuclear fusion, where Naruto and Kurama's chakra are used as raw materials to produce a new type of energy. Basically, Naruto and Kurama's chakra get consumed and burn up until the form runs out, which basically means that Naruto and Kurama's chakra is burning up as a result to fuel this new form. Anybody that is hit by the physical blows of Naruto in this form undergo a similar process. In the context of the Ishiki fight, this only results really in Ishiki losing 2 to 3 days of his lifespan, as he's only noted to have a couple days of life remaining, compared to having 5 minutes by the end of the fight with Naruto. While this doesn't seem to be impressive in the context of the Ishiki fight, I am of the opinion that this should just be more effective on opponents with less chakra than Ishiki, due to how life force is directly intertwined with chakra to the extent the two are analogous, showcased with techniques like the multi-shadow cone technique, shortening lifespan with people like Hiruzen due to it splitting up their chakra. So Baryon mode, which is essentially burning up chakra, which is stated, would be burning up Ishiki's chakra, i.e. his lifespan, meaning that if you actually possess less chakra than Ishiki, or just have less chakra than Naruto in general, he could legitimately one-shot your lifespan in lore, which is kind of funny to think about, that if you don't really hold a candle to Ishiki's chakra reserves, Naruto, by just hitting you once, is going to make it so your lifespan dwindles. I do not believe that Naruto would actually need to land multiple strikes for the average shinobi, as it took 8 confirmed strikes for Naruto to bring down Ishiki's 3 to 2 day lifespan all the way down to 5 minutes. Keep in mind, Naruto would just get more attacks off on a far weaker combatant or wouldn't struggle nearly as much as Ishiki was proactively blocking and dodging attacks. So in lore, Naruto's pretty much just gonna need 1 to 2 blows to burn up the chakra or lifespan of anybody he's fighting. It's also worth noting that this form is specifically spec'd into for taijutsu, as Naruto is supposed to get rid of any superfluous thoughts and just focus on boxing, as Kurama notes. To the extent it doesn't even seem like this form can use ninjutsu, at least by the manga standards. In the anime, Naruto does perform a Rasengan while in this form, so it can be considered a stronger variation in the anime. However, I also want it to be known that, and I went ahead and counted this so nobody really had to go ahead and look at this, Naruto lands, including the Rasengan on Ishiki, 49 blows on Ishiki in the anime. Even accounting for the fact that maybe I miscounted 1 or 2, this is still far above the 8 confirmed blows in the manga, which does mean that this is more effective, at least going by manga standards. However, the sentiment should still be the same, that Naruto burns up the chakra of his opponent similar to his chakra and Kurama's, and unless you're an Otsutsuki caliber opponent, he's going to be one-shotting you in 1 to 2 hits, not only through the force of his punches, but also just burning up your lifespan. To counter this form, you really just have to be a chakra juggernaut similar to Naruto, otherwise you're just not going to be able to stand up to its effects. So in lore, on top of Naruto just having all of this at his disposal, Baryon mode is going to be one-shotting most opponents below him, not only from a power perspective, but in its effect as well, at least by the manga standards. Although you can maybe say the anime has a similar sentiment with the form just lasting longer in that medium as well. That's the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the lore accurate Naruto video. Like and subscribe if you enjoy these videos or want to see more of them, maybe learn something new. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below. Do you agree, disagree, why? And I will catch you next time. Bye bye.